Right, guys. So this is assignment one, obviously for STML. So the company is unique, and it was a success story, and then something wobbly happened, and you can read about it. I didn't even know this existed, but you can have a glance at it. There's quite a bit of information there, guys. So in terms of these, the question that we want is focused on that. So please get used to highlighting these bits and pieces when you do your assignment, so that when we get to the exam, it becomes a lot easier. So guys, if we look at Fayol's stuff, now Fayol's theory is around and has been around for a long time. The bit that you're interested in, and I will get there. It is Learning Unit 1, slides 36 and 37. So Learning Unit 1, slides 36 and 37. I just need to quickly get there. And then in the textbook, for those of you that bought the textbook, it's pages 28 and 29. So if we glance here very quickly, it's Learning Unit 1, slides 36 and 37. I don't know why it's opening this side. Hold on. And then you'll see 36 and 37. I'll go through the detail of this in a second. So 36. Oh, why have I got that wrong? Maybe 36 and 37 is where it says 36. Literacy is not a requirement to lecture, clearly. Guys, so Henry Fayol's stuff has been around for a long time. What do we recognize these now to be? What do we recognize those now to translate to in terms of modern discussions and modern lexicon? Sorry, I'm trying to sound not impressive with my English. In terms of modern terminology, what do we recognize those as? As it's good old planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So the origins of planning, organizing, and leading and controlling is from the 1920s, I would imagine, somewhere. Now, often what happens in terms of organizations is that people get so busy and leaders get so busy with trying to just survive crises, is that they forget the basics of these. And if we then look at how those translate, now some of this stuff is incredibly dated and modern organizations shouldn't run like this. But it'll be interesting to see which of those you guys select to bring into the modern age. The kinds of things that go into Fayol's principles is the idea of division of work. Now, unfortunately, a lot of organizations still have divisions that they use in their work. Sorry, let me get my artistic bit going here. Where is it? Paint. So if we look at, oh, I need to make this when I want to sell this as an NFT, it better be a little bit bigger. Why does this look so different? But traditional organizations, unfortunately, still look like this. You have the sort of triangular thing with different levels. You know, we have employees, junior managers, middle managers, senior managers, and executive managers. And then we have these ridiculous divides where there is a difference between finance and marketing and operations and HR and PR and Ron, it is. But please remember though that is it's dated in its thinking, hey? It really is dated. It was written around what the world was back then in the 1920s, I would imagine. And the thinking that the world is this or the environment is the static thing that is predictable 1780s, oh my gosh, that the environment is predictable and slow moving, and that we're able to, with certainty, make an idea of what our future will look like. That is gone. Now, this kind of division, this division in terms of traditional divisions, etc. So marketing separate from finance, etc. Who are the marketers here? Who are the marketers? Anyone work in marketing? Okay, marketing. Anyone in finance? I know we've got general managers here as well. Sales. Oh my gosh, what do you sell, Brett? Sales, Cleo. Oh my gosh, finance. So, oh, okay, selling vehicles, very cool. Paul in finance. Anyone else in finance? Right. Anyone in HR? In HR, human resources. Oh gosh, that is a concern. Anyone in operations, part of the operations, manage a production line, look after production lines? And then public relations, operations, very cool, Walter. And then public relations, supply chain. Who is in supply chain? Okay. Can I just see how many of you are across those where your job is a bit of finance, a bit of sales, a bit of HR, a bit of everything, the sort of modern environment where, okay, very, very cool. Okay, so that is very cool. Oh, yeah, obviously. Cleo, you as well, because that's the modern way, that we don't really stick according to these divisions, and that we've moved away, and we talk about seamless organizations where there's a blur between whether what I'm doing now is finance or whether it is actually sales. And that certainly is the modern approach. So the first one there we've had a glance at, guys, and then authority, and the idea of authority going hand in hand with the level that you're in an organization, and the higher the level, obviously the greater your authority, and obviously the bigger your office, etc., etc. Again, we see in terms of modern organizations that authority is being pushed to the bottom, or that people where they work have to take those decisions as well. So again, a concept that we should challenge, but still in existence. And we are going to look at challenging these concepts, guys. And then the next one there, the idea of discipline, and that's about rules and explaining rules, and almost the idea that discipline is something that's external, because I believe in self-discipline. I don't believe I need a set of rules to tell me what to do. Unity of command. Remember, in terms of unity of command, that you report to one person all the time. And the reason we have that kind of structure is that we have lots of employees reporting to fewer supervisors reporting to fewer managers, and so forth. So we build this little pyramid, again, very, very dated. But to also just say it's still in existence in organization, but certainly needs to be challenged, guys. And then the other ones that we need to worry about, and I'm not going to go, the idea of, forgetting your individual rights, that here you are here for the collective good, and the thinking that the only way to motivate people is to pay them. So, there aren't things other than money that will motivate. Centralization, where management takes the decisions and employers do the doing. Chain of command, a link, and you can see other bits and pieces, guys. The one that I find interesting is this one here, is this idea of stability of tenure. Who's been in their current job for less than 5 years? Who's been in their current position for less than 5 years? Yep, yep. 2 years. Yes, yes, yes. Anyone from 5 to 10 years? 5 to 10 years. And you guys are so young, so it's quite difficult. Sorry, guys, I forgot to plug my power in and out, and I have been without power for quite a long time. Please just give me a second. 7 years. Okay, very impressive, Paul. Anyone been with their current company for longer than 10 years? Longer than 10 years? 15 years, Tanya. That's a heck of a long time with the company. Um, wow, that is a long time because that's you're becoming an anomaly because people don't stay with companies that long. That's very impressive. That's very, very impressive. Okay, guys, and then initiative. Yeah, so we see some bits of modern thinking here, and essentially that people who come up with their own ideas, their own improvement suggestions, generally will work harder. So nothing rocket sciencey there. Okay. So the second one is that, yeah, this one I don't really have clear guidelines. It's a little bit of additional research. Sorry about that. Um, all being part of a good manager. You'll see here, I said page 35, but I think for me, although we want some of the theories, I want some application stuff to come through here. Okay, Boya, please have a glance at that. All being part of a manager, surely I have a slide for that. I can't believe I don't have a slide for that. Please just give me a second. Um, okay, sorry, there it is. So we've seen this, guys. It's the stuff on the interpersonal and informational and decisional role. But for me, there's a lot more than that, guys. I think we want to talk about leaders and what leaders do. The interesting one here for me is this bit here. Um, it talks about, and I love this concept, guys. I honestly think this needs a lot more research. Talks about the extraordinarization of the mundane. And what it means is that the role of leadership in terms of the modern world is so brief in your interactions with people that you almost the moments that you spend with people have to make it so special that that moment seems extraordinary. Any comments on that as a concept, the extraordinarization of leadership? Of the mundane. And the mundane is saying hello to somebody and finding out how they are. The thinking is the world is so insane that leaders don't have the time to spend a lot of time with individual employees anymore. Yeah. Rowan, it's taking that moment and that moment, that person is your everything. Anyone want to give me examples of where this happens in their own workplace? So please, just in terms of this, please look at slides 51, 52, 53 as well. Okay. Any comments on the extraordinarization stuff? Those of you in leadership positions, is there something like that? Is it possible to make that real? Yeah, love that concept, guys, and maybe we need to think about that a bit more. The next one there, right, guys, please look at slides 41 to 44. 41 to 44, slides 41 to 44, and the textbook pages 31 to 32. Can someone please put this on the group? And can someone please change the group name for us as well? Pages, I think Court's you, the admin person for this. And then the textbook pages 31 and 32. So let's look at the slides very quickly. This is an interesting concept and an interesting theory. Sorry, I just want to get my pages 41 to 44. Yeah. So, guys, the idea of this competing values framework, it talks about an organization's culture. Now, when we think of an organization's if we think of an organization, Courts, please put the link on here for us. Riyaz wants to join. So when we think of an organizational culture, it's often like the personality of the organization. So what is the person? Sorry, guys, can I just quickly do something here? So it is about the personality of the organization. Now, what it talks about when looking at an organization's culture, there's certain ways of measuring culture. The first one is flexibility versus control. So it talks really about the amount of empowerment that we give people. We still get traditional and state organizations where workers are paid to do and managers are paid to think. And then the second bit, guys, is where is our focus? Is our focus internally or is it on the environment? Is it on being competitive and being the best in an industry? And then what happens is it gives us this idea of what actions management should take, depending on the combination of those bits and pieces. So if we look at the theory and the way it would work in an organization. Now, one of the concerns is, guys, is when, and I want to go back to that. So if the focus is on flexibility and is on allowing people to think in an empowered way, to not have detailed job descriptions, but to rather have broad job roles and that idea of telling people that when it comes to doing your job, all we want is for this particular thing that you create to look like that. And the process that you use to get there, we don't really care about. And then versus traditional narrow job descriptions. Please just give me a second. So again, in terms of the organization itself, where do you fit in? If the focus, and let's be honest, it should be on flexibility and the idea of creating and those kinds of things. That then translates into these different managerial leadership roles. So, in terms of the collaboration, I think here the focus is very much on the organization inside, and the ideas of what we need to do would be those kinds of behaviors there. The control one, again, guys, it's too narrow in its thinking. The compete is about getting out there and getting into the WWE ring with your competitors and the role of leaders then. And then, obviously, if you want to change type organization, those are the behaviors that you need to display. Right. So the slides are there. You've got them. As if we then look at the next set of questions, just want to see whether, yeah. And so the government of national unity, so far so good. Is that a fair comment? The government of national unity, so far so good. Is that a fair comment? You guys are quiet tonight. It scares me a little bit. Time will tell. Yeah, I mean, there are some positives to come out of it, I suppose, at this stage. Guys, in terms of these significantly different approaches, you're looking at Learning Unit 1, slides 5 to 10, and you're looking at pages 96 to 98 in the textbook. When we look at slides 5 to 10, right? So this particular theory talks about leadership as potentially being viewed from four different options. So leadership as a person will always be the characteristics, the personality, those intangible things that attract people to a particular leader. Just to say, leadership as a person will argue that leaders are born. Leadership as a process talks about the behaviors, suggesting that we can teach somebody to be a leader. Leadership as a position, and really, when we think of leadership as a position, this idea that we almost expect people to be in a particular position in order to make a difference. And then leadership as results, can we use results and successes achieved as a measurement of leadership? And that's something that you need to debate. As an aside, can we use results as a measure of the success of a leader? I think one of the challenges with doing that is often you will appoint somebody and they arrive and the economy is thriving and people are spending and everyone is successful. And just by virtue of the fact that you are there, the results will show that you're a good leader. But we've seen where people have stepped in and where the environment is tough, where companies are closing down, where inflation rates are high, where there's a recession. You can't use the same measures to determine whether somebody is successful. Exactly, Tanya. There's so many other variables. Sometimes people are just in the right place at the right time, and we often need to look at that as a measure of it. Guys, you'll see that I've discussed each of those there. Yeah, in terms of leadership as a position, the notion that in order to be in a leader, you need to have a significant position, but we can see that that's being challenged as well. Guys, and then the six bases of power, Learning Unit 1, slide 12. Yeah, and it really is the old theory just rehashed slightly. Informational power, having access to information, the ability to share information, the power of reward, obviously, to be in a position to to essentially acknowledge people's contribution through reward. And then coercion, yeah, power of coercion is really about threats or implied threats. Legitimate power goes with the power of position. Expertise power comes from what you know, and referent power is about charisma. And we should be able to link people to each of these. Guys, and then the last question there, influencing tactics, you're looking at Learning Unit 1, slide 17. In the textbook, pages 54 to 56. So Learning Unit 1, again, Learning Unit 1, slide 17 and 54 to 56. We have a quick glance at that. There we have it. What are the options to convince people to do certain things? Rational, it's really presenting facts and figures and having a clear strategy. Appraising, I think it's about telling people what will be in it for you, or how will you benefit. Inspirational things, I think it really is about people's values and people's personality and people's nature. Consultation is about giving people ownership, involving them in processes. Yeah, pure exchange is if you do, I will give. Guys, and then, yeah, personal appeals, I think often based on relationship things, but we're friends, friends would help each other out. Ingratiation, it really is to tell the person how fantastic they are in order to get them to do things for you. Position, yeah, here is the policy, here is the decision, you will do it. Pressure, and you can see, and coalition. And yeah, this is where you create a small group of people who will convince the others of how good an idea something is. Ramaphosa, in my mind, lives in personal appeals, um, and loves in facts, etc. But oh yeah, and loves consultation. Gosh, consultation at the expense of taking a decision. Right. Any questions at this stage about the assignment?